Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are going to break down a law that is absolutely essential for any creator in Nepal. We're talking about the Copyright Act of 2002. So if you've ever written, designed, coded, or created anything original, you're going to want to stick around. It all boils down to this one simple question. You spend hours writing a song, you snap that perfect photograph, or you build an app from scratch. It's your idea, your work, so who actually owns it? Well, the law has a very, very clear answer.
Okay, so let's start with the absolute basics. What does this law even protect in the first place?
The most important word you need to know is work. Now, the Act defines this really broadly. It's basically anything that is original and intellectual. And we're not just talking about famous paintings here. We're talking about the unique product of your mind and your effort. And you might be surprised at just how wide this net is cast. It covers pretty much everything you can think of. Books, music, photos, architectural designs, even maps and illustrations. And yes, for all you tech folks out there, computer programs are absolutely included. If you've made it, chances are this act is for you. Now, this is probably the single most important point. The second you create something, it's protected. That's it. It's automatic. You don't have to go fill out some form or pay a fee. Now, you can register your work if you want to, but you don't have to. Your rights kick in the moment of creation. All right, let's move on to the core of it. So your work is protected from the get-go. But what does that actually mean? What rights do you have as the creator? The law breaks your rights down into two main types. First up, your economic rights. Think of this as the how you make money part. You get to decide who can copy, sell, or broadcast your work. But then you have your moral rights, which are just as crucial. This is more personal. It's your right to be named as the creator and to make sure nobody messes with your work in a way that hurts your reputation. And this quote right here, it perfectly sums up the power of moral rights. It means nobody can take your art, your music, or your writing and twist it into something ugly that damages your name. It's basically a shield for your artistic integrity. Okay, Section 3. Let's talk about the clock. You have these amazing rights, but do they last forever? Well, no. So how long does this protection actually stick around? This is a question every single creator should know the answer to. And here it is. For most types of work, your rights are protected for your entire life, plus a full 50 years after you pass away. This is huge. It means your legacy and your family are protected for decades. Of course, there are a few special cases. If you created something with a partner, that 50-year clock only starts ticking after the last surviving creator dies. And as you can see, for things like photography or applied art, the timelines are a bit different and usually shorter. But copyright isn't meant to be an unbreakable wall. The law is actually pretty smart about this. It intentionally builds in some exceptions to make sure that knowledge can be shared and education can continue. We often call this fair use. So, this brings up the big question. When is it actually okay to use a piece of someone else's work without having to ask for permission? The law gives us some really clear guidelines because it's designed to balance creator rights with the public good. Think of this as your fair use cheat sheet. You're allowed to copy a small part of something for your own personal use. A teacher can use parts of a book in their classroom. You can quote someone's work as long as you give them credit. And a journalist can use excerpts when they're reporting the news. And there are a few other handy exceptions too. A library can make a single copy of a book to replace one that's been damaged. Here's a good one. If you legally buy a piece of software, you're allowed to make one backup copy for yourself. And you can bring a single copy of a work, like a book, from another country for your personal use. Okay, final section. Let's talk consequences. We've gone over your rights, and we've gone over the exceptions. But what happens when someone just ignores all the rules and breaks the law?
The official legal term is infringement, and what it boils down to, according to the Act, is using someone's work without their permission, usually to make money. It's basically profiting from someone else's creativity, and that's a big no-no.
So what are the actual stakes here? If this happens to you, or if someone is thinking about doing it, what are the real-world penalties? Well, let me tell you, the Act does not take this lightly. Right out of the gate, for a very first offense, we're talking a pretty serious fine. It could be anywhere from 10,000 all the way up to 100,000 rupees. That is not a small amount of money. And it's not just about the money either. A first-time offender could also face up to 6 months in prison. And if they do it again, the penalties get way more serious. We're talking fines that can go up to 200,000 rupees and potential prison time of up to a full year. And as if all that wasn't enough, the authorities can also come in and seize everything. All the illegal copies, plus any equipment, printers, computers, duplicators that were used to make them, and it can all be destroyed.
So there you have it. That's a quick tour of Nepal's Copyright Act. Now you know what's protected, what your rights are, and what happens when those rules are broken. Think of this knowledge as a tool in your creator toolkit. The only question left is, how are you going to use it?